So you want mountains, quiet, and a simpler life. Cool. But are you ready for the costs that don't show up on Instagram? This list lays out 10 realities that push residents to rethink everything from their rent to their safety net. Watch through, because the final 3 are the silent budget killers. You'll either walk away informed or grateful you didn't sign that lease. Before we continue, hit subscribe so you never miss the latest updates. Number 1, brutal. Months-long winters. You think snow days are cute until your front door freezes shut and your propane bill looks like a car payment. That's not a once-a-decade freak event. In a lot of Montana, winter rolls in around October and doesn't unclench until April. Sub-zero isn't rare, it's routine. You'll learn the sound of your house settling under ice and the rhythm of a furnace that never gets a day off. The Instagram version sells steam on a coffee mug. The real version is your car acting like it has a hangover at 6 a.m., black ice pretending to be dry pavement, and cold snaps that drag for a week straight. Pipes sweat, then freeze. Wallets do the same. You start timing showers and thermostats like a control room operator. Daily life gets a winter surcharge. Ice dams creep along roofs and drip into drywall. You plug in block heaters at night like your vehicle is on life support. Snow tires aren't optional, they're your personality now. Every errand needs lead time. Warm the car, shovel the berm, kick the ice off the wheel wells, then drive like a defensive driving instructor. One spilled coffee becomes a frozen art piece on your floor mat. Let's talk numbers without putting you to sleep. Average lows ride the teens for long stretches. Wind chills drop that into the single digits or worse, and heating costs spike when wages don't magically grow. Propane, electric, wood, pick your poison, you'll still feel it. And when it's coldest, delivery routes and repair schedules are the least flexible they'll be all year. Here's a local reality. A Bozeman renter gets hit with rent plus a $300 plus utility bill after a cold snap, then loses 2 days of work because the roads glaze over and schools shut. You don't get to catch up on that week. Groceries go up because trucks move slower. Your boss is annoyed, your pipes don't care. Culturally, the shift is real. Daylight clocks out early. You start counting the sun in 15-minute doses. People who thrive on routine battle seasonal affect and cabin fever. Remote workers learn that the internet can be fine and the power still flickers. It's like living in a glorified snow globe that someone keeps shaking. So, what's the cost of cute? Hidden, recurring, and not optional. Heat, tires, repairs, and lost workdays quietly add 10 to 20% to your annual cost of living. The weather doesn't push you in, the distance will box you in. Number 2, extremely isolated towns. You can buy the cabin. You can't buy neighbors or a Costco within a sane drive. That's the flex and the flaw. A lot of Montana towns are tiny dots, spaced out and ringed by public land. Trails, plenty. Services, not the point. Isolation here isn't a mistake, it's the product. So here's the thing. That quiet life turns into pilgrimage life. The dentist is an hour, the mechanic is 2. The store that carries more than jerky, nails, and chainsaw oil is a whole day's errand with snacks and a podcast queue. You make lists like a prepper because, oops, we forgot milk, now means another tank of gas. You'll see the trade fast. Cheap acreage looks sweet until the logistics invoice lands. Kids basketball? Pack the cooler. Those road games are sunup to past bedtime. Amazon shows you a cheery delivery window. Then the van reroutes and you're waiting days because the driver decided not to risk that last county road. Your mail carrier is your new celebrity. Let's talk density without putting you to sleep. Montana's people are spread thin. A ton of incorporated towns sit under 5,000 residents, which sounds quaint until you realize that's not enough bodies to support specialty shops, urgent care with real hours or a hardware aisle, deeper than duct tape. Small headcount means small menus of everything. New arrivals land in a 1,500-person town and learn the rules on day 1. There's no Uber. Taxis exist, kind of, if the one driver's not out of town. The single grocery locks up early on Sunday. And if you miss it, congrats. Dinner is gas station ravioli. You start timing your life around business hours like it's 1998. Here's the twist you won't love. In isolation, a minor car hiccup becomes a math problem. That simple alternator or flat tire turns into a tow bill that can outrun the actual repair because you're paying for miles. And if it happens after hours, add a surcharge for the privilege of being far away. Isolated sounds romantic until the math shows up. Every quick run drains hours. Fuel burns faster. Backup plans don't exist because there's no plan B store, no second plumber, no spare delivery truck. Time becomes your most expensive currency, and you spend it whether you like it or not. Now take that isolation and add a paycheck that doesn't match the price tags. Number 3, limited high-paying jobs. You'll get the view, just not the salary that usually pays for it. That's the catch. You land in a postcard and realize the paycheck is from a different era. The metro economies run on tourism, retail, and service. Lots of badges, not many big paychecks. High-skill lanes exist, but they're narrow and crowded. If you don't bring your income with you, you're playing musical chairs with fewer chairs. Here's the thing. The buyers flying in have cash and remote salaries. The local job boards have wages that trail national medians. Let that sink in. You're competing for rentals and groceries against people whose money was made elsewhere while you're getting offered rates that feel entry-level even with experience. It's like shopping with Monopoly money while everyone else has a platinum card. Let's break down the mismatch. In Bozeman and Missoula, median home prices and rents outpace what local workers earn by a wide margin. Two incomes still strain, and that's before you stack utilities, childcare, or a car payment. The math says 30% of income for housing. Reality laughs and takes 40, sometimes 50. You start cutting categories that most people consider normal life. Case in point, a remote worker loses their gig and starts hunting locally. Roles exist, sure, but the pay posts come in 20 to 30% below what they expected, and that's for the few openings that match their skills at all. Benefits? Sometimes thin. Advancement? Slower than you think. The fallback plan becomes 3 part-time jobs that don't line up cleanly on a calendar, and now nuance. Energy, construction, and healthcare do pay better. But here's the catch. You need credentials, you need experience, and there aren't endless seats. A handful of large employers can set the tone for entire regions. When hiring pauses, the whole ladder wobbles. Add the seasonal swing. Tourism spikes pack schedules in summer, then shift to scarce hours and on-call shifts. Tips rise, then vanish. Payroll fluctuates with the weather and the weekend calendar. That volatility makes saving hard and planning even harder. Your budget becomes a survival exercise. So is the plan just work remote forever? Maybe, but that's not a strategy. It's a gamble. The mini payoff is blunt. If your income isn't imported, the math breaks. The wage-cost gap is the engine failure in this luxury product, and when you need a doctor, you'll see the next weak link fast. Number 4, sparse healthcare access. Great air. Tough luck finding a specialist before next season. That's the pitch and the penalty. The scenery is free. The appointment slots aren't. You'll get a clinic with a nice receptionist and a sign that says limited hours, not a full hospital wing. If you need more than a flu test, the answer is often drive. Hospitals are spread out. Many towns lean on small clinics that can check vitals, maybe run basic labs, and then punt you to the nearest city for anything complicated. That turns routine care into a calendar event. A simple skin check or physical therapy session starts to look like a field trip with snacks, playlists, and a backup plan for when the nurse calls to reschedule. Here's the catch. Specialist care can mean crossing counties, sometimes crossing state lines, orthopedics, cardiology, pediatric subspecialties. There aren't many seats. You'll chase available slots like concert tickets. You refresh the portal. You call again. You accept a time 2 months out and hope the car starts. Provider-to-patient ratios don't do you any favors, and wait times stretch weeks, not days. That gap hits hard in mental health and primary care. You don't just book next Tuesday. You pick a date that sounds like a season. Meanwhile, symptoms keep a schedule of their own, and your planner turns into a medical jigsaw. Chronic conditions become harder to manage. Diabetes, asthma, autoimmune stuff. Everything demands consistency you can't always get. Urgent needs become logistics problems. That weekend injury now involves mileage math, a friend to drive, and a guess about which facility is actually open and equipped. A family drives 2 hours for pediatric care. The weather turns. Winter cancels the appointment, and the earliest makeup lands weeks out. You burn a PTO day, a tank of gas, and your patience. That's the cycle. Then the insurance curveball. The nearest specialist may not be in your plan. Out-of-network bills show up like a prank, except it's your savings. You choose between time, distance, and a surprise invoice that feels bigger than a car repair. Let that sink in. What's the cost beyond co-pays? Fuel, hotels when dawn slots force overnight stays, missed wages, childcare for siblings, and the stress tax of waiting while worrying. Mini payoff. Healthcare here adds financial and time risk. One issue can blow up your budget and your week. And that's before factoring the literal miles between everything. Number 5, long distances between cities. A short drive here eats a podcast series and a tank of gas. That's the daily math. Montana's big cities don't neighbor each other, they orbit. And there's no safety net of robust rail or frequent buses to stitch the gaps. You drive or you don't go. Here's the thing. Work meetings, kids' tournaments, even a simple airport drop become road trips. Weather gets a vote every time. You plan a 3-hour window, then add another hour because wind picks up, a lane closes, or a fresh dusting turns the pass into a skating rink. It's real, it's happening. Let's quantify it so you can feel the drag. Billings to Bozeman, about 150 miles and roughly 2 hours in good conditions. Bozeman to Missoula is near 200 miles, around 3 hours if the roads behave. Helena to Missoula sits near 115 miles, about 2 hours. None of that includes construction, a herd on the shoulder, or a surprise whiteout near a pass. Stack 2 of those legs in a day and you just burned daylight. Now, the cost layer. Fuel is a recurring bill that doesn't care how frugal you feel. Long miles chew through oil, tires, brakes, and windshield wipers at a rude pace. Rural driving risks push insurance up. And claims aren't cheap when parts must ship and shops book out. Every mile is a coin flip between fine and whelp. That's a deductible. The hidden time tax stings more. A quick specialist visit or big box run swallows a day. You leave before dawn, grab a late lunch, and roll home in the dark with half your list still undone because the store sold out. Your calendar slowly morphs around the odometer. Here's the safety layer no one brags about. Wildlife collisions are common, especially near dawn and dusk. One deer can erase your bumper, radiator, and wheak. Winter adds ice, drifting snow, and visibility measured in car lengths. You start carrying an emergency kit like it's a wallet. That's not paranoia, that's policy. Distance isn't just an annoyance, it's an ongoing bill. You pay in fuel, maintenance, insurance, and hours you don't get back. Mini payoff. Living here turns you into a part-time long-haul driver and your budget bleeds in miles. When you finally get home, don't expect a big city night to make it all worth it. Number 6. Weeknight life and entertainment. If your idea of Friday night is a brewery and a trivia contest, you're set. If you want more, good luck. You'll get a stout, a flight, maybe a folk duo in the corner, and then the lights flick on like last call is a curfew. It's cozy until you want options, then the menu shrinks fast. Here's the thing. Entertainment clusters around the college towns and still runs thin. Bozeman and Missoula carry the weight, but even there, the calendar has gaps. One theater, a couple small venues, comedy once in a while. By 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, streets feel cleared, and the only thing open serves fries and a hoodie with the town name on it. Variety exists, but it's rationed. Newcomers show up thinking Denver light and meet Tuesday quiet. You expect multiple live music picks, a late movie, and a midnight taco run. You get one bar with a line, one show that sold out, and a kitchen that closed at 8:30. The vibe is calm and the phones go down early. If nightlife is your battery charger, it drains quick. So, what's the trade? Less noise and drama? Sure. Fewer sirens, fewer 2 a.m. shout fests. But the flip side is fewer cultural hits, limited concerts, tighter theater seasons, and late-night food that means frozen pizza at home. If you don't DIY your fun, you wait for the next activity like it's a software update. Let's talk evidence without turning into a spreadsheet. Venue counts are lean compared to similar-sized cities elsewhere. Event frequency dips outside festival weeks, and closing times skew early. That means your options night is actually one option, maybe 2 if the weather plays nice. And tours? Many skip Montana or give it a single stop. Here's where it stings. Big shows mean a long drive, maybe a hotel, and a next day recovery. You buy tickets months out, then budget fuel, time off work, and parking that costs more than dinner. The night out becomes a mini vacation you didn't plan for, complete with a baggage claim in your bank account. Is that quiet charm worth the boredom tax? Depends on your hobbies. Mini payoff. If nightlife fuels you, expect to pay in boredom, travel, and calendar Tetris. If you're fine with early nights and low-key hangs, the calm might be the feature. Quiet is fine, until your rent screams louder than a concert ever could. Number 7. Rising housing costs in desirable areas. You wanted a mountain view. The price tag wants your soul. That's the punchline you don't see on the postcard. The hot spots, Bozeman, Whitefish, Missoula, went from attainable to auction. Prices rocket, supply drags, wages stall. It's real, it's happening. Here's the thing. Locals get squeezed into campers, basement rooms, or they point the car toward another state. Meanwhile, newcomers show up with big down payments and bid above ask just to get a callback. Sellers expect escalation clauses like their condiment packets. You don't negotiate, you audition. Let's put some shape on it without turning this into a spreadsheet. Median home prices jumped hard after 2020 and kept trending up while rents stacked new highs. Vacancy rates run thin enough that one listing draws a crowd. Rent increases hit faster than raises. The gap between housing costs and paychecks widens every year, and the ladder to ownership loses rungs. Why so tight? But here's the catch. Zoning slows, infill, and pushes projects through a maze of hearings. Construction runs headlong into labor shortages and materials delays, so timelines slip and budgets balloon. Then the second home demand vacuumed up inventory in the most scenic zip codes. That locks out first-time buyers and keeps rents inflated, even when a few units finally open. A real scenario I keep hearing. Dual income couple, solid credit, pre-approved, doing everything right. They tour starter homes for months. 10 offers in, 10 rejections. All cash buyers leapfrog the line with no contingencies, 7-day closes, and offers that read like a flex. After a while, the couple gives up on houses and starts hunting for a decent basement with egress windows. Now for the twist that makes people mad. Some affordable complexes sit with empty units because the income caps don't line up with market reality. Earn $1 over the limit and you're out. Earn $1 under, and you still can't float the security deposit, plus first month plus utilities. The paperwork says affordable. The checkout total says try again. So what's the move? Pay more or move out? That's the corner. The mini payoff is blunt. This is poverty with a view. If your income isn't imported or backed by savings, you'll get priced into creative housing. Roommates, RVS, long commutes, or all three. Even if you win a lease, your connection to the world might still be stuck in 2007. Number 8. Poor internet in rural regions. Remote work fantasy meets buffering reality. You move for the views, boot the laptop, and then your upload bar crawls like it's on dial-up. It's cute for one day. Day 2, it's a liability. The catch is simple. Fiber exists, but only in pockets. Outside those bubbles, broadband is inconsistent, capped, or just plain slow. Here's the thing. Your job needs steady upload and clean video. Your town runs on a line strung across miles of wind and snow, and the ISP crew is already buried in tickets. One ice storm, one backhoe, one power blink, and your workday evaporates. The help desk says they'll roll a truck. Translation, maybe tomorrow. Numbers matter. In the urban pockets, a big share of households can hit 100 megabits per second or more. In many rural counties, that share drops hard. Think a fraction of that coverage. Let that sink in. The same zoom that's crisp in town is a slideshow 20 miles out, and the map can lie. A green square does not equal a clean connection at 5 p.m. when everyone streams. Daily life takes the hit. Video calls freeze mid-sentence. Clients hear robot voice. Cloud backups sit at 2% all afternoon. A YouTube upload turns into an overnight project that fails at 3 a.m. because the line hiccuped. You start scheduling work around the neighborhood's Netflix habit like it's a weather forecast. Anecdote you'll see again and again. A freelance designer parked at a library lot. Snow hammering the windshield. Laptop on hotspot just to push a client file before the deadline. That's not romantic. That's a penalty you pay to live outside the fiber bubble. Then the money drain kicks in. You stack services for redundancy, DSL plus wireless, maybe satellite as a backup, and still don't hit city reliability. Data caps add surprise fees. Starlink sounds like a fix until you add hardware, subscription, and the please don't drop during this call anxiety. Your cost of living climbs while your speed still stutters. Can you buy your way out? Sometimes, if you land in a fiber pocket or bankroll a pricey fixed wireless install. Most times, you're paying more for less. Mini payoff. Unless you're in a fiber zone, the internet is a liability. Your income stream is only as strong as the weakest router in town. And when you need to fly out to fix a problem in person, welcome to the next bottleneck. Number 9. Few major airports are direct flights. Your quick trip starts with an expensive hop to a hub. That's the norm. You're not flying straight to where you're going, you're buying permission to get to Denver, Seattle, or Salt Lake first, then starting your real journey. Here's the thing. Montana's airports are small and seasonal. Routes come and go with the calendar, and prices swing like a mood. Summer brings more options, winter trims them back. You check schedules and see a handful of direct flights that evaporate once the tourists leave. You miss a sale window and the fare jumps like it's surge pricing. Business trip, family emergency, that leisure weekend you promised? They all cost more and take longer. You can't do last minute without a penalty. You build buffers for every connection because missing one means a hotel night and a reschedule call you didn't want to make. Let's talk routes. Bozeman, Missoula, Billings. Each has some direct destinations, but it's a small menu and shifts by season. Summer adds a few, winter subtracts. You're choosing from a short list and betting the price won't spike before checkout. That's not choice, that's a curated corner. Now, the cost stack. Holidays light the fares on fire, baggage fees land like a second ticket, rental cars get scarce, and the price is reflected, especially when arrivals cluster around the same small windows. You can pay more to fly 2 states over than someone in a major hub pays to cross the country. Let that sink in. I've watched this play out. A traveler needed to get to a neighboring state. Price check from a big city hub? Cheaper to go coast to coast. Price check from Bozeman? More for the short hop, plus a connection. The math punishes you for living far from competition. Now the remote worker wrinkle. Clients expect on-site visits at city speed. From here, you can't match it. The earliest you can arrive often isn't early, and rescheduling is a scavenger hunt through limited seats and awkward layovers. That delay dents your leverage and your calendar. So, what's the hidden tax? Time, money, and planning energy paid every single trip. Mini payoff. Travel friction drains your budget and your week. You plan life around flight calendars, not the other way around. Last piece, when the sky turns, everything else stops. Number 10. Harsh weather that disrupts daily life. Montana doesn't do partly inconvenient. It flips the board. You get blue skies at breakfast and a chaos update by lunch. The weather isn't background noise, it's the event planner that double books your life and sends the bill. Let's set the record straight. It's not just cold. Chinook wines swing temps fast enough to confuse your wardrobe. Wildfire smoke hangs for weeks and turns noon into sepia. Spring floods chew up roads. Hail doesn't ping. It shreds vehicles and skylights. Then late-season blizzards roll in when you already swapped the snow tires and stored the shovel. Here's the daily pain. Schools close not only for snow but for smoke. Summers go gray with ash and recess moves indoors. Then mud season hits, and your road turns into a slip and slide with ruts that could eat a bumper. Deliveries stall. Errands shift. You start checking road cams like you check the weather app. There's a rhythm, and it's expensive. Snowmelt floods in late spring. Fire season runs hard through summer. Then the sudden freeze smacks everything that survived. Each phase comes with its own invoice. Sandbags and sump pumps, air purifiers and hotel nights, tire chains and windshield chips. It's like living on a subscription service where the upgrades are disasters. The fallout is measurable even without a spreadsheet. Insurance claims rise after hail and flood events, and premiums follow. Outdoor work pauses. Roofers, framers, landscapers, ranch hands. Everyone waits. Summer tourism tries to peak and smacks into evacuations and closed trails. The local lemonade stand? It's selling N95s and refunds. Real story pattern. A contractor loses 2 weeks to wildfire smoke because crews can't work in the haze without coughing through masks. Then gives up another week fixing hail damage on company trucks and client roofs. Payroll burns while revenue stalls. That margin you felt good about in May? Vanished by August. Health pays too. Air quality spikes push the index into no-go zones. Kids stay indoors for days. Asthma meds get refilled early. Joggers swap routes for treadmills. You learn the vocabulary of particulate matter the way other people learn coffee orders. So what's the final bill? It stacks in downtime, premiums, repairs, and plans you can't keep. Mini payoff. Weather here isn't a backdrop. It's the boss. It dictates schedules, spending, and sanity. That's the Montana illusion. Stunning, yes. Stable and affordable? Not without a plan. The view is real. So are the bills, the miles, and the downtime. Montana works best if you bring income, resilience, and backup plans. Think cost of living calculators, job strategies aimed at higher-paying sectors or remote-friendly roles, and housing alerts running before you pack a box. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe because someday you'll want to escape. Would you live where the rent is high and the internet blinks? Drop a yes or nope in the comments. Your move, trust fund or tent, plan or pain. Choose before the snow flies because winter doesn't negotiate and the market won't wait.